Okay, so I haven't done a video since Brexit, actually. So, done a video since I did the video calling for moderation following the EU referendum. And now, the decision to leave the EU has been thrown at the forefront of, well, I suppose it's always been at the forefront of everyone's minds. Well, it's very much become a focus for the media again, because of the High Court ruling deciding that in order for Brexit to be triggered, well, no, technically, the High Court has decided that Parliament should get a vote to decide when Article 50 is triggered, and Article 50 is obviously the process by which Britain leaves the EU. Now there's a lot of I say controversy, outrage surrounding this, because you have people saying that they're attempting to block the democratic process. You have comments being thrown about like they're trampling on the rights and decisions of the people. You have the Daily Mail, of all things, branding them enemies of the people, and I don't really need to tell you how alarmist that is. Quite frankly, the High Court has simply voted on a point of law. They have voted to decide whether, what was it I read? They have voted to decide whether the Crown, or the ministers, because the Crown doesn't so much exercise the powers it's given under the royal prerogative so much as ministers do. So they voted to determine whether or not those ministers can use their executive powers to essentially bypass Parliament. Now, it has been argued, the government argues, that ministers already have enough power under the royal prerogative to trigger Article 50 without MPs or peers, for that matter. However, I think the majority of the outrage is rooted in the fact that a lot of people consider the fact that these judges, who are unelected and some consider unaccountable, are deciding, or essentially I suppose some people are viewing it as the High Court or the judiciary attempting to impose its will upon Parliament. However, Brexit, or our exit from the EU, it's a very touchy subject, and we have to remember that when discussing it, when discussing any matter that's highly controversial, tempers will flare, and things will be said and stuff like that. And I think in this moment we all just kind of need to remember to calm down and look at these things with reason. Like, at the end of the day, Brexit is going to happen one way or another. Like, it might take years, it might take months, whatever. But in order to continue to claim to be a democracy, although it might not necessarily be true in practice, but in order to say we are a democracy, in order to say that we value the democratic process in this country, the government must abide by the people's wishes, no matter what executive power they think they have. So, like, I get the concern. And the other side of the coin is, I've had several friends who are quite pleased with this because, um, many people, I found many young people actually considered the decision to leave the EU to be a rather foolish one. So, they're quite, stop it. They're quite happy that it's being delayed. But I think the key thing to remember here is the High Court is not attempting to tell Parliament or the government how to do its job. The High Court is voting on a point of law, which is their job. And I mean, even if it does, even if, Parliament get the vote and, all has to pass through Parliament and, an act of Parliament needs to be drawn up because due to the fact that leaving the EU would influence domestic law, there's really no easy way to get that in without passing primary legislation, which is essentially which is an act of Parliament. Stop it. What was I saying? Yeah, even if it does have to go through Parliament, like you have had Jeremy Corbyn and other, Theresa May and other leaders saying that they will not attempt to follow their own agendas, and whether or not they're actually going to abide by those words remains to be seen. But then again, you cannot be a politician in a democratic system and then say, yeah, okay, the people voted this way, but I ain't gonna stick with my conscience and go with this because you might as well just start likening yourself to a dictator because that's essentially what you become. But I have a point, I swear. Yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is yes, okay. The thing is, it's not as alarming as the newspapers and the media are attempting to make out. At least not at this point. I mean, if things go tits up, it could provoke a constitutional crisis, but we'll deal with that when it gets here, if it gets here. So, really, even if it does need to pass through Parliament, it's no biggie. So, I guess I'm kind of saying to everyone, chill, take a nap. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay, I promise to kind of start posting videos more regularly, for those of you who care. So, have a great evening. I will probably talk about something soon. I mean, if the constitutional crisis does happen, then I'll be talking about that. But I'm going to sign off now. So, bye. Have fun, I guess.